Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Public Access TV. My name is Doug Goodman, and you're going to be watching over the next half hour the January 2009 edition of Tiger Talk. This show will be aired on Public Access TV on Charter Channel 8 and 19, along with Knology 35 and 80. We're here in the basement of the Lyon County Library, and this is Studio One, and with me for Tiger Talk 2009 is two very special guests. Superintendent of Schools Clint Willert on my far left, and our very, very special guest, Mr. Brian Jones, principal of Marshall High School. Welcome, gentlemen, and Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Same to you.
Same to you, Doug. It's good to be back and starting a new year and sharing with our community some of the things that have gone on in the schools and going on in the schools. And this is a chance for us to reflect a little bit on some of the things that have happened, and obviously an opportunity for us to think a little bit about and share a little bit about what's going to ultimately happen too. I know there's a lot of questions because as we sit here right now, the state legislature started. It's going to create for some interesting dialogue and debate for our community and our viewers to pay attention to, and I'm sure as we go forward we'll have the opportunity to talk about some of those things. But today I think we'd really like to spend some time reflecting back with our community. As we have in the previous shows, we've talked a lot about the operating referendum. We've talked about different programs and services that we've had in the district and that we've been fortunate to implement in the district. We've talked about some of the things that we've done with curriculum. We've talked to some other administrators. We've met some of our new administrators and those types of things. Well, today's no exception. I think this is a great opportunity for us as a school to share some of the things that we've done with our community and with those referendum dollars that we've been entrusted with. And that's why we've invited Mr. Jones, Brian Jones, the high school principal today to talk about a few of those things. And I think it's a great opportunity to highlight some things such as the Freshman Academy. We've implemented a College in the Schools program. We've got an internship program. A host of things that are new or relatively new in the high school, and I think Brian will do a great job sharing some of those things with us. So I'd just like to begin. Brian's not a new face to Marshall, but maybe have Brian just share a little bit about himself and who he is, and then we can get into some of those things. So
Sounds great.
Thanks, Clint. I came to Marshall in the fall of '99. My wife is a native of Marshall. She grew up here, and her whole family is from the area. We had the opportunity back when the district passed the operating levy back in, I believe it was fall of '98, and we moved to block schedule. There was a whole new slew of teachers at that time, and I was fortunate enough to be hired on that. I came from Kansas City. I'm originally from Missouri, and have spent time in Nebraska and Missouri in my professional career before I came to Marshall. Once I was in Marshall, I taught in the classroom in a variety of areas, primarily computer education, technology education, did some physical education as well, and then worked with our extracurricular programs through sports medicine before moving into administration. So,
Well, we're sure happy to have you here on this edition of Tiger Talk, and of course it's a chance to share lots of what's happening in our schools with the community. And you know, being the principal of Marshall High School, I imagine you got pretty exciting days, don't you?
There aren't very many days that are very routine, and the exciting part of the job is each day is a new day. There's always that unexpected part that could happen. What I have on my to-do list a lot of days is still there at the end of the day, and so much for best made plans. But it's fun that I get to work with our staff, and I get to work with our students, and I get to work with our parents, and so it's a different dynamic than what it was like when I was a classroom teacher.
Well, that's exciting, and I know as Clint mentioned earlier, we want to talk a little bit in our half-hour show, which goes by so fast, a little bit about some of the new programs and things that you're involved with, and one of those is what I know began last September, is this Freshman Academy. Can you share with our viewers what that's all about?
Sure. We have several programs. The first I'd like to highlight is our Freshman Academy, and our Freshman Academy is brand new this year. We've completed almost the first semester, and what we have done is we've tried to do some things differently for those students that we felt could be at risk for making that transition from middle school into high school. And as we look at best practice at what top schools around the nation are doing, many of them make special accommodations to receive those ninth grade students as they come in, and that's a challenging time in a young person's life. Certainly, adolescence is in full swing, and so they're dealing with a lot of issues, and a lot of times academics maybe aren't their focus. And so what we've tried to do is we've tried to make some special provisions to address those needs, those social emotional needs, while still helping those students to be academically successful, with the idea of for all of our ninth grade students at Marshall High School, what you do when you walk through the door, it really prepares you for when you leave in 4 years. And a lot of times, when, probably all of us when we were that age, we didn't think much beyond the next day or the next week. And so what we're trying to do is help prepare them for 4 years down the road when they graduate from Marshall High School, and what sort of post-secondary education do they need to be able to contribute in our workforce and hopefully contribute and stay in our community.
It's really one of those next phases, and we've talked about this when our students go from elementary into that Marshall Middle School. That's a big jump, going from 4th to 5th grade. And of course, from 8th to 9th grade, now all of a sudden things like driver's license and boy and girl things, and you're right, I think sometimes academics kind of get pushed aside or not thought about as much. And this freshman academy really is hitting or focusing on that, and it's making a difference, right?
We believe it is, and our teachers are working very hard. And I just want to point out to the viewers at home that this isn't a program for all ninth graders. And what we've identified approximately 1/3 of that ninth grade class that we felt could be at risk, and maybe that was academically at risk, behaviorally at risk, socially at risk. And so we've made some special accommodations to receive them. And as adults, we know that one size does not fit all. However, traditionally schools have maybe been a little bit slow to respond to that. And so what we've tried to do is develop something in our system so that it's not one size fits all for just our ninth graders. And so to have a little bit of options and personalize their education a little bit more.
And where this becomes so important, Doug, and why we embrace this so readily, and really applaud Mr. Jones and the entire high school team for what they've done with this program, is understanding that not only are we focused on that child, but we're focused on that child for the continuum of their education, because we know that if they don't have a good foundation underneath them as they go through the high school experience, it compromises their ability to do some things as they go forward, whether that be into the junior and senior year of high school and even beyond. And we know that at the same time, the accountability stakes are so much higher for schools that we are taking some proactive steps, and this is one of several programs that we've implemented district-wide to take some proactive steps to address that level of accountability and to our community and to our public. And again, it's realized because our public has given us the confidence and trust that they have to do these things. So it's an outstanding program, and I think Brian and his entire team of teachers that have been really trained specifically around this concept have done a nice job.
Well, I thank you, Clint, and I would just like to point out, it's really, there are a lot of great programs around the country, but it is about the people that make those programs, and I would like to just recognize those teachers that have put in so much time and energy and effort to work with those students. And in our ninth grade academy, what we've done is we've taken a science teacher, a language arts teacher, a math teacher, and a special education teacher, and we've put them together on a team, and they work with those students. We're a block schedule at the high school, so that means that students meet for 90 minutes a day. What we've done is we've created those classes to be approximately 40 minutes and last all year. And so we take the core class, the core subject, and we stretch that out over the entire year. And we build in a little bit of resource time so those students can go and work with those teachers. And those teachers have just they made a huge personal investment that I believe is paying off for those students, and it's an investment that may not be realized for till their sophomore year, their junior year, their senior year, and ultimately, hopefully, those kids in the academy become productive citizens in our community here in Marshall and in Southwest Minnesota. So those teachers that I would like to just recognize are Steve Hall. He's our science teacher. We have Nina Eben, language arts, and Nina's a Marshall graduate, Marshall High School, and a longtime resident. We have Brian Liebfried. He's new to our system. He's from Southwest Minnesota, and he's our math instructor. And we have Becky Genrich, our special education teacher, and she's been with us at the high school for probably close to 10 years. And they're learning how to work together as a team. And the students in the academy are building a sense of community, and they've become a family. And just like any family, we have our good days and we have our disagreements. But that's the case in any school and in anything that we do. So the students and the staff are working hard to make this be successful, and just so the people in the community know, we've been able to do this with really just very minimal staff addition. So minimal increased cost. It's a school within a school concept, and so I feel, in my opinion, we've been very financially responsible with the dollars, and it's really been about more of a reallocation of our funds that we've been given, and just trying to do things a little bit differently based on some current research.
And I think it's important as we look at the current research too, and share that through the breaking ranks information. That's really where this is all grounded, right, Brian?
Yep.
It's in the breaking ranks data, and they talk about the new 3 R's of education, and that's rigor, relevance, and bottom line relationships. And by focusing on those 3 R's in addition to the other traditional 3 R's, I believe this is going to have great impacts on those students' lives and a real positive influence for them as they go forward. So, again, it's a very visionary program, and kudos to Brian and his entire team for doing that, because it's good for our community. I mean, that's the bottom line, Doug. As we look at this, it's good for our community because our public school is about all students. We receive students from several of our parochial partners in the community. We receive students from Lynn. We receive students from Milroy. And this really ensures that every student that walks through those doors of that high school are given that support that they need so that they can realize the level of success that they want and they desire. And it's really about helping them fulfill their lifelong goals and dreams as they look at post-secondary education alternatives and those types of things, because it's about the kids. It really is.
Well, and that's so important, especially with this freshman age, where they're once again, as we say, transitioning to independence. And I would assume also, we transition right into the Minnesota comprehension testing and all of that good stuff, which plays a big part now as our school districts are always being assessed. There's testing that goes on in reading and mathematics and all those. Maybe we can talk a little bit about how this fits in with that. And I'm sure it's even though it's early in the process, right, it has to make a difference.
We hope so. Yeah. And with this being the first year, we're going to find out. We're doing some of our local assessments here coming up next week, so we can see what sort of progress those students have made from the beginning of the school year to now. And the nice thing about that is that it's much like going to the doctor. It gives us it's a physical, it's a checkup, and if some things are working, great, and we know what's working. If some things aren't working, we still have half the year where we can make some adjustments, apply some interventions to help correct some of those areas that we feel like maybe we're a little deficient in. And certainly as ninth graders, you talk about the MCA2s, the state assessments. As ninth graders, they'll have their first one, and that is the state writing exam, in which they have to pass that writing exam in order to graduate with a high school diploma. One additional benefit that I would like to point out that of the academy, it gives our large school a small school feel. And for those students, traditionally, and we see them every year, that do get a little bit lost in the shuffle, that maybe just kind of go about their business, this gives those students in the academy an identity, gives them a chance to build some lasting relationships with each other and with those teachers. And oftentimes, I feel it gives us kind of the best of both worlds. We have big school opportunities and a wide array of program offerings, but it also gives us a small school feel where students are connected with one another. They know what's going on with one another. Our teachers know what's going on with our students. And so we've really tried to individualize the education as much as possible for the students in the ninth grade academy.
Well, that sounds great. And as you move into this new, you say we start this in January with this assessment and the ongoing testing. That's for freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, all the way through as they work towards those final academic requirements. And freshmen don't believe that they need to worry about that too much when they're freshmen, do they?
Absolutely not. They think that what I do today doesn't impact me or matter for tomorrow. And I know our teachers, particularly in the academy, talk with those students constantly about what you do now makes a difference in high school. You don't just move forward to that next grade. You have to be in 10th grade English, you have to be successful and complete 9th grade English. To move into biology, you have to complete 9th grade science and move into that next level math. And what you do now does make a difference. And for some of our students, that's a different mindset and a real paradigm shift.
And on top of that, too, Doug, one of the things that's been interesting is the state has now embedded what's called a grad component to the assessment processes, and students are required to pass those assessments in order to receive a high school diploma. And we want to give our children every opportunity to be successful with passing those grad assessments that are in place, so that they can indeed walk across the stage and receive a validated high school diploma from Marshall Public Schools. That's a whole new level of accountability and a whole new level of requirements for our students in terms of meeting a level of proficiency. And this is really just beginning with these type of requirements and that level of accountability and that rigor in those assessments. So again, a proactive step so that we're on the front end instead of the back side of that reacting to, we're trying to be proactive in our planning to support our children as they navigate the high school experience and those assessments so that they can be successful in obtaining that high school diploma, because we know that that's a ticket to a lot of other opportunities in the world.
Well, and that's so important. And I know as once again, as freshmen and sophomores, our students are becoming very independent individuals. But let's transition a little bit here now, because up until this point, until they get to high school, typically our staff, our administration are pretty connected with the parents. But by the time they get to the high school, then the parents, how are you at the high school level connecting with parents? I know you have, and for those of you who don't know, maybe you could explain a little about the parent portal. Mm-hmm. How do parents access or find out how their child's doing at the high school?
Sure. And you mentioned the parent portal, and the parent portal is part of our student database to where parents can access their child's grade book, teacher's grade book, to see how they're doing academically. And certainly that just tells one part of the story. And there's the academic side, and there's also the social development side. And for that, we receive calls often daily from parents, whether it be to administration or to the counselors, to talk about post-secondary planning. Right now we're in a very busy time for college applications of our seniors. It's a busy time for juniors as they start looking at the ACT examination, and it's busy for all of our students as we gear up for registration for next year and start the registration process. And we have 6 nights where parent-teacher conferences. The parents are available. All of the teachers have voicemail, have email, and so we stay in constant communication with parents. And administratively, that's one thing that we always work on, is in what ways can we work more closely with our parents. And we just finished up a survey following parent-teacher conferences. It's the first time we had done it, to just kind of get a kind of dipstick, if you will, how our parents thought we were doing. And we asked them to grade us, and in communication, that was one of those areas. And I didn't bring those results with me today, but I feel good about those, and certainly there's some things that we can improve on. And one of the most important things that we can do with our parents is communicate. And that doesn't mean that we're always going to agree, just like we all are in disagreement at one time or another, but it's nice to be able to get a difference of opinions, to be able to consider an issue from all sides and trying to make the best decision ultimately for what's best for those students.
Well, there really is a partnership that needs to go
Absolutely.
on between the school district personnel, staff, be it the paraprofessionals, be it the regular ed staff, be it administration. Parents, are frustrated because maybe that son or daughter comes home, they don't tell them a whole lot what's going on at school, especially at that high school level. So there really needs to be some communication networking that goes on, and to have those open lines of communication is so essential.
And that's huge. I mean, we have students from 8 to 3, and parents have the students from 3 to 8. We have them 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Parents have them from 3 p.m. to 8 a.m. And the more we can stay linked together in terms of communication with the parents, the better it's going to be. Although the students don't necessarily always feel that way, but ultimately it's about working together and teaming up with the parents. And we're fortunate in Marshall because our families are supportive of education, and there's nothing more frustrating than to work with a parent who chooses not to participate in their child's education, because that tells the student that, my education really is not that important, because my parents don't take time. And fortunately, in Marshall, those are few and far between, particularly when you look and you listen to what other educators around the state and around the country talk about. And we live in a good community that puts a strong value on education in a lot of ways, and that doesn't just mean through financial support,
Sure.
but through emotional support and just a lot of different ways. So we're lucky.
Well, and I think that goes into some of the other programs too that we've been fortunate enough to implement this year, because if we didn't have a strong foundation of support and understanding on the value of education, the continuum of education, as we look at those opportunities and programs in our community, we would not be doing some of the things that we're doing at the high school. And I think you might want to share some of those other
Sure.
things too, Brian, that we're doing, such as the College in the Schools program. Tell a little bit about that, and an opportunity to talk as well about the revised internship experiences, how we've really taken the best of many worlds and combined them into one
Sure.
really unique, I believe, probably one of the most innovative internship experiences in the entire state of Minnesota, if not the entire country. And talk a little bit about those things too, if you would.
Okay. As we designed last year, we really tried to, a lot of times programs in education target those students that are right in the middle. They don't work to target and work for those students that are high academic achievers, and they sometimes leave behind those students who aren't at that average level. And so as we designed our programs for this current school year, we said, how can we address those on the end, because we're doing a good job with the students in the middle. And so a ninth grade academy would be one example of how those students that need some extra support. A College in the Schools have been, I feel, a very big success for us this year. And a lot of people are familiar with PSEO, and that stands for Post-Secondary Enrollment Options, and that's where a student can choose to, in their junior or senior year, if they meet certain criteria, they can go to college, and the state or the school district pays for tuition and books. College in the Schools is a form of post-secondary, but what it does is it brings the college class to the high school, and allows high school students in their class the ability to earn college credit. It's taught by high school instructors that have been certified by the university faculty. And so we've brought those in to Marshall High School this year, and we give our students the opportunity to earn their full year of college freshman language arts English class, and we can do it in a semester based on our block schedule. And so students can take a fall semester college English, spring semester college English with us in 2 separate courses consisting of 9 weeks. And that's been huge. Our enrollment there looks good. Is nice and strong. We offer, I believe, 4 sections of the College in the Schools English 1 and 2 sections of, in essence, spring semester college English. The other place we've been able to work with College in the Schools is in chemistry. And so we offer, for a student who might be going to study liberal arts, they can meet their science requirement, their lab requirement through our College in the Schools chemistry. And then for those students who maybe want to pursue something in a medical profession, more of a lab type setting, they take College in the Schools chemistry too, that next step. And so between our advanced placement programs and our College in the Schools, and we work with Southwest Minnesota State University on that, and they've been great to work with. We also work with the University of Minnesota. We have College in the Schools in our agriculture program. We'll teach that class for the first time this spring, and we're excited about that. And then Clint mentioned the internship opportunity. That's also a form of College in the Schools, because we've teamed up with Minnesota State Community and Technical College to offer our career internship program. And our career internship program consists of some people may have been familiar with mentorship in the past, and oftentimes the other program was OJT, on-the-job training, that was taught both in business and in agriculture in years past. Well, what we did is we combined those two programs, and we looked at our number of graduates and how many were leaving Southwest Minnesota every year to go to the metro. And it is about growing our own. We put a very good product out there, yet it's unfortunate to see that product leave and relocate. And so what we've tried to do is expose our students to the programs and the great jobs, the high-tech jobs that are available in Southwest Minnesota. So we've teamed up with the community college. We've teamed up with several business partners. We've got students that are working at U.S. Bank with the idea that when they complete the program that they're going to be able to have an opportunity for summer employment as they go to college. If they leave and come back in the summer, some employment there. And really it allows our partners in business to start recruiting employees right now while they're in high school, and not just recruiting them from while they're in college. We've got students that are working in dentistry. We've got students that are working at the hospital. And so some of those students are going to go and become medical doctors, and it's about trying to build those relationships with our business partners right now so that in 5 years and 10 years when those students are done with their schooling, they make a choice to stay in Marshall and say, you know what, this is a good place to raise my family, and this is a good place to begin my career and my working and professional career. And so I'm excited about that program, and we work with Brenda Kellen and Cecilia Danahar, and they run that program, and they've just done a great job with it. We have our first open house on Monday night, January 12th. I'd invite the community to come out. It's from 4 to 6, and take a look at the projects that those kids have been doing, and it's college level work, and those kids do a nice job. And we're starting that. I think we're up to 20 students that are going to be doing that in the spring semester. One other program that I'd like to talk about is our online program, and we offer 4 online classes at Marshall High School. We offer 1 each quarter. And it's as we become more of a technology-based society, Governor Pawlenty has said he wants 25% of college programs to be offered online and 10 years down the road. And we're trying to make that transition for our kids right now. And so we offer a language arts class online, and we offer a programming class, a money management class online, where those students can, if they choose to stay at home, they can work on it. It's for juniors and seniors. If they work on it at midnight, if they work on it at 8 a.m., and it gives them some flexibility in their schedule and really starts to transition and have more of a college feel. And that's our goal, preparing kids for that next step. And high school graduation is not the end all. A high school graduate degree alone no longer gets you a livable wage. And I can't stress that enough to people that society has changed. And generation, 2 generations ago, you could get a great job with just a high school degree, and that's not the case anymore.
No, and I'm sitting here listening to all of these things, and of course, it has really changed. And I glanced down at the Marshall Public Schools vision statement, and what we've been talking about fits so perfectly. And it says, Marshall Public Schools develops the potential of each learner for success in the changing world. And that's exactly what it is. It's a high-quality educational opportunity. And I know that a lot of people don't realize that, but the things you're talking about are steps ahead. I know of other schools in the state, in the region, in the area, wherever in the nation, because you are making those visionary moves now so that kids get a chance to see that light at the end of the tunnel almost in high school about what they may want to do. There are a lot of kids that go to college for 4 or 5 years that don't know exactly what they want to do.
Absolutely.
But this gives them a little taste of it. And man, that's just a great opportunity.
Well, and you go back to the other piece of this whole puzzle, which is the community. Because what we're doing is providing our students with an understanding of the opportunities that are right here in Marshall. A couple of years ago, Marshall had the opportunity to host a STEM forum, sponsored STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics for the viewers, because we throw acronyms around in education, much like any other highly technical and specialized field. Science, technology, and engineering mathematics forum, sponsored by the Minnesota Department of Education, and I had the opportunity to sit at a table of high school seniors and juniors And what was interesting was we had some people from BH Electronics, from the Schwann Food Company, that presented, and they shared some of the opportunities that existed in the areas of science and technology and engineering and mathematics right here in southwest Minnesota. And to a student that was sitting at the table, to a student, they said, I never knew that those opportunities existed right here. So what we've done is we've opened the doors with our community so that our students are exposed to those opportunities. It helps with the workforce development long term in the community, but at the same time, we're giving our kids a tremendous opportunity when they step foot into whatever post-secondary institution that they select, because we know that as post-secondary enrollment tightens, because financial challenges and those types of things, the criteria and the rigor to enter the post-secondary institution of choice is much greater. And we believe that we're giving our students an opportunity to have an extra advantage when they apply for those universities and those colleges. And you're right, everything that's been done has been very intentional, very mission and vision driven, and it's not by chance that these things happen. It's through good people like Brian and the teachers at the high school that were able to do these things, and I give them a great deal of credit for making some of these happen, and for the reality that we've seen of not only taking them from concept, paper and pencil, but to implementation, which is a huge leap, and doing it in an effective way. And the bottom line, and just to state so that people understand, this is all then based back on data and information. We're going to be looking at achievement results of our students. We're going to be measuring how we're doing, some of those things that we call in-process measures, gauging how our community feels, gauging what the inputs are of our parents and our students in the process, but then beyond that, looking at student results on our MCA2s, those Minnesota Comprehensive Assessments, or the Northwest Educational Evaluation Assessment. That's that NWA assessment that we take as well. So we're gauging along the way and at the end of the process too how our students are doing, so that we can continue to make improvements and refinements. And we know that we're all facing tough economic times. It's very, very difficult. We know that those are all challenges that we're going to face, and that's why we're so grounded in data and so grounded in our vision and mission statements and our purpose of what we do. We're not about trying something and throwing mud against the wall and seeing how much sticks. We're dealing with the precious lives of students in our community when we do these things, and we take that very, very seriously. And again, kudos to our staff for doing that, because it's through their willingness to say, yeah, we can do that, and having a willingness to say we can do that, and then actually following through with it, that really is making this possible. And I know that we're about out of time, I believe, Doug. So
Yeah, Jess has been waving his hands. Our public access studio coordinator behind the cameras right now is saying it's time to wrap up. And I guess I want to thank you both, gentlemen. This has been a great way to kick off the 2009 season. It's exciting stuff.
Absolutely.
And as you said, we're going to have some challenges ahead. And we'll, as we do more and more of these shows, we try to do a couple of them a month to bring you, the viewer, up to date on what's happening in our Marshall Public Schools. So maybe the last thing we need to talk about is how does our viewers get a hold of you guys? Because I'm sure they may have a couple questions. What's the best way?
Well, Brian, why don't you start?
A couple of ways, I would say. Pick up the telephone and give us a call. The second way, come out. We've got a lot of people in our community that still haven't seen our high school. We're in year 4 of operation, and if anyone wants to come out and see what's going on in our classrooms, please do so. We love to have visitors, and our students like to see people that show an interest. And I think that's one of the things that make Marshall a great place, is our community involvement. We've got great students, a great staff, and it all contributes to make Marshall a great place to live.
And our website is a great source of information, and very soon I'll be launching my own superintendent's website on there that will have a regular blog for people to check into, and we'll be doing some podcasting as well on there, so people can dovetail into that to obtain additional information. And we really want to engage our community in their public schools, because these are the Marshall Public Schools, and it's important that they are engaged, they are involved, and they understand what is actually taking place, so that as we do face challenges and difficult decisions ahead of time here, and we know that that's going to happen, that people are operating on known information as opposed to second or third or fourth hand information, because unfortunately the rumor mill oftentimes is just that. It's the rumor mill, and it doesn't carry the facts of the day, and we'd rather have people get the factual information, and again, picking up the phone, dropping us an email, coming out and visiting. We do maintain open door policies with our administrative team. We do request that appointments get scheduled, though, much like anywhere else, because we are busy, as Brian has shared with the day-to-day operations and how dynamic a day can become. But never has an administrator said that they don't have time for our community, because we value the community, we value their input, and we obviously value their support.
Sounds great. Well, just one last thing. I want to make sure everybody gets this website. It's www.marshall.k12.mn.us or www.swmn.org. Those are the two correct
Those are the
ones,
two
right?
sites, absolutely. That'll link you right into everything that we have in Marshall Public Schools. A neat DVD that people can pull up and see to understand some of our programs and meet some of our people, and then just an opportunity to see a host of things on there that really detail what Marshall Public Schools is all about.
Sounds great. Well, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Marshall High School Principal Brian Jones and, of course, Superintendent Clint Willard of Marshall Public Schools to be with us tonight on this edition, 2009 January, of Tiger Talk TV. Thank you, and we'll see you in the near future. Good evening.